everybody, this is Tawney,
Allana,
and we're here with Peep Show Toys, and today we are going to talk about sex positivity and how it has manifested in our lives and how it can kind of be manifested in yours. Do you want to start, or?
Sure, yeah. Okay, so sex positivity and how it's manifested in my life. So I kind of wanted to start by talking about, I grew up in a household where sex was talked about really openly and maybe a little too openly, sometimes a little inappropriate. And because of that, I ended up feeling it's interesting because it was like, although my household was primarily like sex positive, it made me feel more sex negative for a long time.
Like you wanted to be away from it?
Yeah, I definitely had some internal shame and things like that, and it took me a long time to get to the point where I finally started feeling comfortable with my sexuality and stuff, and then where I got to the point where even now I can even talk comfortably with my mother, despite those things in my past growing up. I feel positive and comfortable enough with sex and sexuality now that it doesn't even matter to me, and it doesn't bother me, and it's just I can just give my mother or anyone in my life sexual advice and things like that.
Yes, and it's comfortable.
And it's comfortable because I understand that it's completely fine. But it was a long process of trying to get to that space of sex positivity.
Where it was okay. It's all okay.
Yeah.
Okay to talk about sex and use sex toys and be sex positive. No, I hear you, because I came from a different background where sex was not talked about in my household. I had a relationship with my mom where we could joke about sex past 13, 14, but I never had the talk, and never had, it was just kind of you don't have to worry about getting pregnant if you don't have sex. So it was not a sex positive household. So for me, kind of doing this sex education and toy reviews and just learning, listening to podcasts about sex education, in general, just embracing that it shouldn't be treated like it's taboo to talk about sex, to acknowledge masturbation, and to just kind of have a sexy health or healthy sex life, sexy health life. Yeah, but I think that really for me, it was just kind of learning about it, listening to podcasts, listening to people talk comfortably about sex, helped me talk comfortably about sex, and so then that sex positivity just kind of grew, and it's really cool now because it's fun having my mother-in-law, who never talked to her daughters about sex at all, contacting me for sex advice and feeling comfortable doing that. I'm oh my gosh, it's reached this point of sex positivity where how it's manifested is that people are comfortable talking to you about something that is considered taboo or considered something you just don't talk about, and it shouldn't be that way at all. Yeah,
because you've gotten to that point where you're it's okay, it's acceptable, and then the people in your life are oh, because sometimes you really need that example. For me, doing sex work had a lot to do with.
Yes.
As soon as I started doing that, I was oh, all of this is perfect, is fine.
It's fine.
And I just, slowly became more comfortable with fetishes and kinks and all kinds of more complex things about sexuality too, where I was now to the point where I'm none of this is a big deal by any means.
No!
You know what I mean?
And it's so amazing, the people that will think things are you might have a question, somebody who's watching this, and you might be afraid to ask your friends and stuff, but I think it might be weird at first, but I think once you kind of breach that and you don't treat it like it is some taboo subject, you'll find that they have questions too. Yeah. It could really start that conversation where it's shining that sex positive light on playing with yourself into sexuality in general, and not making it such a scary thing, because that just feeds into that anti-sex
normalize it.
Yeah, absolutely. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
We also wanted to touch on feeling comfortable using toys either alone with yourself or with partners.
Yes.
Especially. Because I think so many people have insecurities when it comes to the idea of using toys in their partnerships and in their relationships, because it means, someone is inadequate or something like that. They add that meaning to it.
Right.
When the reality is that many people just need help getting off.
Yep. That's okay.
That's completely okay.
And very common.
Yeah, that's completely okay.
Yeah. And also, it can add different sensations that into the bedroom that you might not have been aware of before. It can just enhance the pleasure, where it doesn't mean that you're not, I always get off with my partner having sex. but I still enjoy bringing in sex toys because it's a different adventure, and that's okay. It's like, it's okay to be sex positive in your relationship too. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just to know that, like, if you're wanting to try something for no reason other than curiosity, that's awesome and totally okay.
Yes.
And you should be able to explore that and feel okay with it and not feel shame. And if you're struggling with something and you want to ask someone or get help, that should be okay too. Like, it is okay.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
okay.
You're fine. It's fine. Well, thank you everyone so much for coming and chatting with us. Again, I'm Tawney.
Allana.
Don't forget to subscribe and check out our YouTube channels, and we'll be chatting with you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.